What makes an anime protagonist so fucking compelling? I mean, most of the time these guys are either like super unpersonable or the most batshit insane optimist you've ever met in your life. Anime takes stuff to the extreme literally all the time, and there's actually something we can take from it if we're just grinding to get good at Valorant. I'm Backseat Gabby, your Valorant mentality coach, and this is how to play Valorant like a shonen protagonist, like an anime protagonist. And really, this works for pretty much any skill. I am not a mental health professional, and these tips I found contributed to me being happier and more successful while playing games, but only a few might work for you. First, you gotta know your strengths and weaknesses. An anime protagonist kind of has this thing where they are relentlessly good at everything they do, but I don't think we can do that, so the closest we can get is to know what we are good at so that we can tune the way we play the game to do that more, and so that we can tune our training to accommodate for what we don't know yet, which we'll get to later. To know your strengths and weaknesses, you kind of just have to reflect. This might be that after you die, you think about what you could have done differently, you think about what information you didn't pay attention to, or what other options you had. Or it can mean you do something like go through your VODs once a day, which, I mean, I recommend if you have the time. But a great way to know your strengths and weaknesses is to have a small group of friends you can trust that are able to respond back and pay attention in that way. A lot of the time when we play Valorant, people are only paying attention to their own skill, which makes sense because we're all trying to improve at this one thing. But on the other hand, there's a lot of benefit you can get from getting a second perspective on your gameplay. Maybe even just showing your friend a clip where you're not sure what you could have done different could give you a new perspective on the way you've been playing situations similar to this for a long time. That being said, especially if you're not a man, finding a group of friends that you can trust while playing Valorant is incredibly difficult. There are resources out there, Discord servers, Gangster, but it's not reliable. The best advice I can give to you is if you find somebody that you really trust, be honest with them and express it. It can be kind of embarrassing to talk about things like that, but it will lead to the highest chance of you sticking around and this person following you on your climb. If you stumble into a ranked match with somebody who's really personable and they play a role that complements your main roles, don't be afraid to just send them a friend request. Having a small group of friends is going to be really useful, but they're not always going to have the insight you need to move forward since they're at the same level as you. They don't know what it takes to get up there yet because they're not there yet. Keeping an eye out for mentors, teachers, or coaches is a really good idea. And I mean, I do free coaching if you are enjoying the video. Just hit the link in the description, send a post in the Coach Me Please forum, and shit, maybe you'll find some people to play with while you're there. Now, you may have developed a bit of a community, or maybe none of these tips worked for you, and that's going to make it a lot harder to stick to what you're doing. One of the core points of an anime protagonist, no matter how stupid or how smart they are, is that they do not give up. All of them have insane goals that they will push for over and over and over again. I think that appeals to us as people because, like, a lot of us have these very intense high dreams. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be like on stages and I wanted to be helping people and playing video games with people all the time. And it wasn't until I was able to like let myself live that goal that I was able to work towards the things I wanted to do, because I didn't have a goalpost to move towards. Instead, I was just going somewhere. Now I know where my forward is. So here's your next 2 points of advice. Never give up and have insane goals. Don't be afraid of insane goals. If your goal is really to hit Radiant, if you really want to go pro, that's what you gotta do. And the path to going pro is really different than the path to hitting Radiant, even though they have a lot of overlap, especially if you're already like iron or bronze or silver. You have a long way to go. But knowing what you want to do and why you want to do it is going to make it the easiest it ever can be to not give up and keep pushing and keep putting in your daily practice. Now, here's a technique that might help you if you get into one of those roadblocks where your optimism isn't proving to be as successful as you wish it would. Bust out a notepad file, bust out a journal, your notes app on your phone, whatever it is, somewhere where you can write it down. And when you hit this roadblock, write down what the belief is about the roadblock. Say, for example, that you're on a lose streak and it's really tilting you. The belief that you might hold that's holding you back from pushing forward might be something like, I can never trust my team. First of all, once you wrote it down, look at it. There's something that was in your brain running your decisions, and now it's just on a piece of paper or in a note file. Weird, right? Cool. Cross that hoe out because you don't need it no more. And rewrite the belief that you want to hold. So if the belief was that we can never trust our teammates, let's do something like, I can only do so much to impact the game, and no matter how bad my team is, I can always be better than when I was at the start of this match. Holding beliefs like that in your mind instead of holding just the negative ones is going to make it a lot easier for you to keep pushing, because you're not pushing against an immovable wall, you're pushing against something that is fluid and changing, which is your own beliefs and what's possible. Now, that was pretty heavy. What can we do to cut some of the tension after all of these hours of ranked grinding? Oh yeah, baby, time for a filler episode. You ever played Swift Play? Woo! Playing casual game modes is actually like one of the most important things I've found as a mentality coach to help people. A lot of the time people will grind ranked, and it's the same thing as working a job with no time for anything else in the middle. If you enjoy the job, that's cool, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people start struggling, and a lot of people start getting really drained over this stuff. And that's when you need to take it into your own hands to be like, alright, maybe we gotta do something different. Take the time, run some Swift plays, team death matches, maybe just some unrated with friends. It's cool now that you can play with players that are in entirely different ranks than you. And shit, the most important part about all of this is that ranked is not your entire life. If you're in online college or something and you have a lot of time to be spending on Valorant, I recommend that you don't spend all of that time on Valorant. Yes, it's a good idea to be putting in a lot of hours, putting in a lot of practice, putting in a lot of knowledge, information, writing, reflecting, that kind of stuff. But also time to rest your mind is pretty important. Having a game or two that you play on the side, having a show that you're watching, anything like that is actually really important, and you'd be surprised how many people that are pushing super hard to rank up are forgetting that stuff. Okay, filler episodes are done. We got a little bit of rest in. We're feeling a bit rejuvenated. We did our little journaling, whatever, but we kind of forgot what we were doing. We're just queuing ranked now without a reason. Here's the next piece of advice. Follow the plot. The plot is going to be the things that stand out to you and the things that you want to accomplish. Now, if you've gotten to platinum or something by just playing for kills, just playing for clips, just playing for nice shots, you might be a player that's like really good at that stuff but lacking in a lot of other places. Maybe your comms aren't that good, maybe your map awareness isn't amazing. That's the type of stuff that you need to follow. It's your weaknesses, sure, but it's also what interests you. If you've just been playing Jett this whole time and you have this like weird interest in Raze or a weird interest in someone like Omen, follow that. And there's no reason to stick to what you're doing just because it's working. This is Valorant. Experiment. Being unpredictable is the goal. The plot can also look like different people that you really enjoy playing with, or people you really don't enjoy playing with that you need to change your relationship with. Following the plot means not being afraid to make changes towards your goals. Remember that giant anime protagonist goal. Go pro, hit Radiant, hit Immortal. It's super far away, but it's super possible. Those are the things we need to be working towards. So when you're making changes to follow the plot, that's the plot. Follow that. That is your North Star. Keep going. And when times get tough and you run out of options, which happens a lot in Valorant, this is when you need to pull out your signature move. Personally, I love pulling out a Guardian or a Vandal and a Shorty and sitting in a corner and then jiggling it. Boom, shooting, waiting for someone to pop up, bam, Shorty. Stupid shit like this is going to make you joyous. It's going to make you have fun when you're playing the game. Maybe you're that Jett player that's really good at getting kills. Maybe when you panic, you updraft and you spin around and you dash around and you throw smokes all over the place. Laugh at yourself when that happens because it's really funny. Give yourself the space to try a weird thing that you know is not going to work, but it could, and if it does, it would be really funny. A signature move is something that you can relate to personally that reconnects you to the reason you're playing the game. Which, I mean, yes, it is to climb, go pro, go Radiant, whatever, but we're also trying to have fun while we do it. It's a game overall. And finally, the last thing that I as a professional mentality coach recommend to you to climb to Radiant or go pro in whatever game you want to do, probably Valorant, is to always train. I'm talking if you run death matches, run your death matches even on days you don't play comp. If you aim train, which I mean go for it, you should be aim training even on days when you don't want to play comp. This is going to keep your habits and the things that you're building, the skills that you're developing, up to date and constantly evolving, following the plot. We talked about VOD reviews at the start of this. Keep up on your VOD reviews. Keep knowing where your weaknesses are. What are you focused on this week? How can you improve that this week? What agents do you need to play to get a better idea of this concept or that? Just keep training. Really, that's all I can say. Well, boom, there it is. Here are your notes on screen. These are the things that you can implement one at a time if you need to help you climb Valorant like an anime protagonist, like your favorite shonen character, like whoever you want. You can climb Valorant, climb to Radiant, climb to Pro by following this consistently for a long period of time. And hey, if you only do it for a week right now, that's still more than you did it before, and I'm still fucking proud of you. That's awesome. If you guys want to catch me live on twitch.tv/backseatgabby, do it whenever you can. We catch it up fast. I have a playlist that I made specifically for people training to play Valorant, for when you're doing your death matches, your aim training, stuff like that, and it's just on Spotify. So if you use Spotify and you want to hear some new music that might help you grind, check that out, also in the description. And of course, I'm on Twitter, TikTok, wherever the hell you want to catch me. I'ma see y'all on the flip side. Bye.